rains are here, and there is a growing concern that the world population is causing major negative impact on the planet because of the way we dispose of our waste. The current model of production and consumption is generating a lot of waste that in many cases do not get reused or recycled. On Community Reports this week, we are turning our attention to waste management in Lagos State. And of course, my name is Victoria Ido. Welcome to the show. Every day, human activities involve the use of raw materials that leads to the disposal of waste product. Waste generation is largely connected to the level of economic growth and activities of a people. It also reflects a society's production and consumption pattern. According to the World Bank, it was reported that Lagos State generates 13,000 tons of waste on a daily basis. Lagos, with its rapid urbanization, infrastructural development, rise in population, which is rising above 22 million, the state grapples with indiscriminate disposal of waste on its major highways and major roads. Leaving the job to the highway managers. The highway managers commenced operation in 2006 with the appointment of litter marshals charged with the responsibility of cleaning up the highways. A new partnership was born with the registration of over 90 companies with the Lagos State Waste Management. The companies were contracted to provide cleaning and sweeping services at strategic locations, highways and streets. And when we met the managing director of LOMA, we asked him about this.
With our sweeping program, LOMA subcontracts that to private sector. So we have contractors who then employs and engage these sweepers. Our duty as the managing authority for it is to ensure that the welfare of those sweepers are kept by those contractors.
The private companies employed most of the managers we see on the highways today. With small brooms attached to a long wooden stick, these women bend low to sweep every sand buried in the ground. Most of the women here are within the ages of 50 and above. The job takes them out of their houses from the very wee hours of the morning to arrive at their assigned places, many of which have been for several years now.
Mo ń lọ sọ́jà tẹ́lẹ̀ sí Kútọ́nù bẹ̀ tìgbà tán gbọ́jà mi ni mo bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ yìí 99 ìgbà tí mo dé bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà mo dẹ̀ tún ti kówó jọ tí mo tún fi ń tajà tí n bá kúrò níbí at least bí 1, 2 àti close mo dẹ̀ tún lọ tajà bí náà.
The danger they face has taught them to take certain precautions while they perform their duties.
But I want to beg people that they should consider us because we are on the road. If they are coming, they should consider us. Then this place is too dirty. That they should not be throwing many things on the ground.
It may not be a glamorous source of livelihood, but this is what these women have survived on for several years, and some have trained their children with the meager salary they receive.
At least ọmọ méjì ló ti graduate. Wọn kò tí ì ríṣẹ́. Mo ń bẹ government kan bá mi fa àwọn ọmọ mi sí di iṣẹ́. Ọmọ òṣà ni máa ṣiṣẹ́ agbálẹ̀ kí ìyá máa ṣe agbálẹ̀ kọ́mọ náà tún máa ṣe. So that mo ní graduate ọkùnrin kan obìnrin kan tí wọ́n jáde tí mo fi owó yìí tí mo fi tọ́ wọn jáde school. Wọ́n fi graduate.
Their pay and allowances, or the lack of it, has been a cause of concern in recent times.
The state pays all sweepers minimum of 25,000 per sweeper. Minimum of 25,000 per sweeper. And supervisors 40,000. But that necessitates for the need for the recent audit that you see that we're doing. So some of the feedback we've heard from the audit is, like you mentioned, the aging population. 19% of the sweepers that we surveyed during the audit are above 51 years of age. So they have a need as well. They have a need for livelihood as well. So we need to just make sure it's not really about the age, it's about making sure they're doing the right job. And their health and safety, their health measures, health needs are provided. So one of the things I'm championing is to make sure that they have a very comprehensive health insurance that can give them, that they can access anytime they need the medical attention, and also benefit in death in service benefit and things like that. So those are the things that we champion. Also on the issue of the salary as well, we noticed, like you made mention during our informal conversation, we pay 25,000 to sweepers. Well, some contractors are paying less than that, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 18,000, 5,000, 9,000. It's very shocking and alarming to hear 9,000. We pay 25,000, and we've been paying 25,000 since Lagos State announced the minimum wage. We review, because the job is pretty much like a part-time job.
Their job starts between 6 and 7 a.m. in the morning, and then takes some time to rest at about 9 a.m. Residential waste generated from individual homes move from the homes to the bins strategically located outside their homes for the PSP operators to collect.
Talking about effective and efficient waste management, it starts actually from the point of generation, which is what you have just identified. You either have the household level, which is the tenement, generating what we call domestic waste, and then at the level of industrial or commercial waste, they also generate either industrial or commercial waste. When these wastes are generated, these days globally, waste generators are encouraged to sort their waste at the point of generation, and that is what we call source segregation. So you separate your waste from like organic waste to inorganic waste, or what you could call the recyclable waste, and the wet waste and all that, breaking it down further into like paper, aluminum, plastic, and all that, because globally we talk about circular economy now, because waste that you generate is not actually waste unless you decide to waste it by yourself. So tenements, both industrial, commercial, and domestic, are expected to actually sort out their waste. And then after that is what we call waste containerization. Then you must put those waste into appropriate containers.
Waste sorting, which is majorly separating household waste and other types of waste that can be recycled, although it's not very common in Nigerian clime. It should be developed and encouraged.
For instance, sometimes in Lagos, the previous government led by Mr. Raji Fashola introduced the wheeler bin, whereby every tenement was given a waste bin, and then you were expected to put the waste into it. That was actually a one-bin system. It was supposed to graduate into a two-bin system, whereby the one-bin system is just a commingle of all the waste. It was supposed to graduate to a situation whereby the waste are being separated into dry waste and wet waste. Dry waste are the recyclables. The wet waste are what we call the biodegradable waste that will go for composting and all that, also to generate biogas, to generate electricity.
The PSP operators, on the other hand, are saddled with the responsibility of picking up the waste and transporting it to the dump site.
From the point of waste containerization, then it becomes the responsibility of an assigned PSP operator in that area who is expected to go from house to house, from the doorstep of the waste generators, and pick up the waste and transport it to either what we have in Lagos, a dump site. We don't have a landfill site. But in other climes, you are supposed to collect this waste, transport them to a waste treatment facility or a material recovery facility or to a sanitary landfill site, as it were. But here we have a disposal site.
Usually in developed countries, the disposal of the waste at the site is the beginning of more things to be done.
When the waste gets to the disposal site, let's say it is a waste treatment facility, then further waste segregation is done, whereby you now separate this waste into either what we call the combustibles, the compostables, and then the recyclables. For the combustibles, these are waste that has a very high calorific value that can be burnt under strict condition to generate electricity or to generate syngas to power the turbines to generate electricity. Those are the combustibles. For the compostables, elementary science and elementary biology will have, or agriculture will have taught you how to convert your organic waste into compost, which we call organic fertilizer. So that's another aspect of it. And then the recyclables. These are papers, plastic, aluminiums, metals, scrap metals and all that. And then you turn them into newer products that can also save, the usage of the natural raw materials. That is the process of the waste management.
The process might be long, but then a reduction of waste in itself is one that should not be overlooked.
There is what we call the waste hierarchy, whereby you have the least and then the topmost. It's like a triangle. And the least is what we call waste avoidance. If you can do it, avoid waste completely. If you cannot avoid waste, they'll reduce your waste. That's where the World Bank, the United Nations is actually clamoring, promoting what we call the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce your waste, which is also part of waste avoidance. Reduce, then you reuse. The ones that you can't reuse, then you recycle.
The Lagos State government had exclusively managed its solid waste until 1997, when it engaged the services of private sector partnership. Since then, the emergence of individuals in waste management has brought a new approach of containerization of domestic waste in large polythene bags.
The model of the PSP is the best model that will happen for waste management anywhere in the world. And that was why at the peak of the waste management services in Lagos State, which was being handled by the PSP, various people from all over the world came to study the model of the PSP, which was number one, homegrown enterprise. Secondly, it was SMEs based kind of enterprise. Thirdly, it was also meant to go from door to door. Waste are expected to be collected from the doorstep of the waste generators. And when you collect waste from the doorstep of the waste generators, what happens? Number one, you will have prevented the waste that ought to go into the drainage from going into the drainage. You'll have also prevented the waste that ought to go into the highway. They will not go there because the waste have been captured from the doorstep. You will have also introduced what we call source segregation to the waste generators, whereby you even introduce what Lagos State is doing right now, which we call the Blue Box Initiative. You can even make money from your waste. When you have your waste, you have plastic, you have paper, you have aluminum, you can segregate that one and prevent, remove them from those ones that will be thrown away, and then you can exchange them for money. So these are all advantages of door-to-door waste collection. And the PSP goes from door to door, except for some roads that are terribly bad, because the infrastructure is also a determinant in effective and efficient solid waste management.
Now, recycling is a process of collecting and processing materials that would have otherwise been thrown away as trash and turning them into new products. Recycling can benefit our community as well as the environment. Let's talk more about that as we go into this break.
Waste generation as of today per person in Lagos State stands at 1.2 kg, and it's expected to rise by 1.42 kg in the next 15 years. The lack of effective collection and disposal process will contribute significantly to environment epidemics such as Lassa fever, perpetual flash floods, which has worsened in the last decade. This was the case in 2018 when the governor of Lagos State, Governor Akinwumi Ambode, contracted Visionscape and handed the mandate to carry out 90% waste management operations and 10% regulations. The move took everyone by surprise. Not long after Visionscape agreement was signed in 2017 and Loma PSP arrangement was discarded, Lagos gradually began to recede to the days of filth.
When Visionscape came about, pre-Visionscape, Lagos State Waste Management was on the up. Visionscape came and flattened it and deepened it, and it just nosedived. So what we have now is we are starting to have them rise to the challenge again. So what we're going to do going forward, we've started engaging them over the last month as well, to make sure that we're not just doing this agenda of reform, of a better and cleaner and consistently cleaner Lagos on it alone. Loma can't do it alone. We need to engage our PSP. They spend times in meetings with us, so we're not just doing meetings without no productivity. So the key thing for us, for them, is if they've spoken to us, what is their capacity building need? We are addressing that. Also, what is the agreed minimum standard for their job? We are addressing that. If you are a PSP, what is the minimum standard? What is the minimum expected of you to do on a monthly basis to justify your contribution to the effort of cleaning Lagos?
Days after Governor Ambode lost his second-term bid, the State House of Assembly directed that the Loma and PSP operators to resume immediately and hit the streets to rid the city of refuse.
Well, unfortunately, yes, we've come a long way in waste management in Lagos, and it has become a model, like I said earlier. But there are so many, it is not yet Uhuru. There are so many areas that we're actually still looking at to be improved upon, especially in the area of the final disposal site. When the wastes are collected and the waste operators or the collectors do not have access to where they are going to dump the waste, then it becomes a major problem. It is a chain reaction, and it affects the overall service delivery. Because once you have collected waste, you are supposed to move into the dump site within 1 hour. In fact, ordinarily, you should be able to dump your waste within 30 minutes. 20 minutes, you should dump your waste. But let's assume we are used to 1 hour, 2 hours, or thereabout. A vehicle should go back and collect.
So far, since the PSP operators took over again, it appears that there has been a level of improvement. But one challenge they face is the condition of the dump site. This has been a recurring decimal.
But where the disposal site is not at its best, rains are not always friendly with waste management. I always say this, that while the rain is so friendly to a farmer, the rain is an enemy to waste management. But all is all about the functionality of planning. I'm sure it do rain in other climes, the developed world, and yet there is no issue. So I believe we can do better. We know what to do. I just want to encourage our governor, His Excellency Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, to look deeply into enthroning a more sustainable disposal system.
we've achieved a great deal. Like I told you before now, there was no access road here. So what we've done is we've opened up about 2 fingers here to have at least 3 to 4 platforms. And then we've also opened up our B road to have 4 platforms. So we have 4 platforms on B road. The whole essence, the whole idea of the rehab work is to extend the lifespan of this place.
It appears the government may be paying attention this time because of their plans to move the dump site to a new location.
Mr. Governor is committed to closure of this site in the very shortest possible time, and he has mandated the Managing Director, the MD Loma, to go on a search of alternative sanitary landfills. And he has also mandated the Managing Director to ensure that that is situated at least in the 3 regions of the state. So we'll have one situated on the west, one on the central, and one on the east. So that's the new directive from Mr. Governor.
But in the meantime, they're working on getting the dump sites accessible.
We are in the process of doing the rehabilitation of the roads that lead to the dump site and the inside road in dump site, and thereby creating 16 plus platform. So we're going to be moving from having 5 to 16 plus platform where they can tip. And what does that mean? Their turnaround time will improve. So it will, maybe we're looking at achieving a 20 minutes. You go in and you are in and out within 20 minutes. So that's been done. And also thinking about the future, you talk about sanitary landfill, things for the future. We've also commissioned we have a waste management and development unit that's been set up in Loma now that will look at that. And the role of that unit is to look at how do we manage waste for the future. So things like waste to energy, waste to wealth, tire-derived fuel, waste-derived fuel, looking at dump sites at different locations that would not have, we won't have a situation where we have in Olushus where urbanization is playing is a major role. And so is where we have all those areas. You know that previously, all those areas, we don't have that urban encroachment there. But over time, as the population of Lagos continues to grow, anywhere you set up a dump site now, it's most likely that people will come there over a period of time.
And enforcement is the responsibility of the state government, which is usually not done.
Littering is a big problem, but the only way we can cope that is through education and awareness and enforcement as well. So street trading is one of the biggest challenges that we face in Lagos. So street trading encourages littering, but there are ways that we can engage our traders to take care of their immediate environment. So it's very important for us. While we are creating an enabling environment for everybody to coexist, we also need to make sure that the environment only looks after us if we look after the environment. So the initiative about providing multiple bins and ensuring recyclables are being put to use so that we can, because the key thing there, if you look at these plastics, and a single plastic will take 450 years to decay if you don't do anything about it now.
A solution for the former is recycling.
Recycling is a wonderful way of managing your waste, especially in a country like Nigeria. It's being done all over the world. So if Nigeria is now recycling, I think it's a very good one, because recycling does not just reduce wastage or manage your waste, but it's a form of entrepreneurship and job creation for young people, women, and other people that would really find recycling lucrative.
With the amount of weight we generate as a country, a lot can be done as regards recycling and as well as conversion of refuse to biogas as it is done in other foreign countries. What then is stopping us?
First and foremost is information. When the people are not informed, you can't hold them liable for committing crimes and obeying or disobeying the law. So people need to be informed.
Upcycling is another aspect of recycling that no one talks about.
Upcycling is the creative reuse of waste materials into something beautiful. So in upcycling, you can actually upcycle bottles, you can upcycle tires. Now, what do I mean by upcycling tires and bottles? Now, you can turn your PET bottles into bottle seats. You can turn your plastic spoons into a spoontastic mirror. You can turn your tires into table tires. You can turn them into seats, ottoman. You can even build houses with this product. All right, so that's upcycling. Now, recycling is the same thing, but it's not a creative reuse. It's just a reuse or breaking down of these recyclables into a completely different material.
In comparison to other developed countries, the effective collection and disposal of all types of waste, commercial, residential or medical, has been a struggle in Lagos State. To blame only the government for this will not be fair. The citizenry also have a major part to play in all of this.
We've said a lot today, and we know that as a people we generate waste on a daily basis. And if we do not dispose of our waste properly, we'll continue to suffer the kind of things we saw at Surulere just recently. Thank you everyone for watching. Remember to throw your trash properly, and if you see anyone doing otherwise, call them to order. Let's make a conscious effort to keep our environments clean. And that's all on Community Reports this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you missed any part of it, you can check it on our YouTube channel. You can also send your comments to the social media handles showing on your screen. Till I see you next week, keep your environment clean. Bye for now.